Hi, and welcome to Unlimited Wonder Comics Lab. I am G.R. Lear, and today we are going to go over, we're going to learn about autobiographical and memoir comics and some practices and methods you can use for making your own comics. So for this workshop, you're just going to need some 3x5 cards and something to draw with. I use a black pen. This is a Uniball Vision. It's black. And we're going to go from there. So if you have your supplies and you're ready, let's get started. First thing we want to do is warm up. So something to put into your practice every day if you are making comics and you're trying to draw, is you want to find a piece of comics or narrative art that in a style that you like and begin to copy it frame by frame. If there's something you enjoy, there is something to learn from copying those lines. So what I have here is from Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes comic strip. This is a short little comic here with Calvin trying to writing his autobiography. So I thought this was a great comic strip to copy. So I want you to take a card, put it in portrait position, and draw a rectangular panel, and then go ahead and copy as best you can these lines here. So I'm going to ask you to just pause the video, and when you're all done, to come on back. All right, we're back. Great job. How'd we do? And you take your time. I really like this one. I think it's great what he's doing with the chair, and the black is kind of framing his head. It comes together with a great composition. So something to do. Bill Watterson, a great cartoonist, certainly can learn more from him. So before we get into anything, maybe we should just talk about what are comics. If you're new to comics and need a definition, so what we're talking about is sequential art that uses images and sometimes words, to share a story or an idea. So some of that, how it may look, is up here. You see the Calvin and Hobbes newspaper comic strip, 4-panel there. Next to it is Gigi's Don't Leave Me Alone, a page from her work that she's published. And then it's also down here, below that, you can see this is a Mayan piece of artwork. It was on the side of a cup, and they would turn the side of the cup to read it in sequence, these images in sequence. So that goes back to 650 BC, somewhere around there, where all these cultures are using images to tell stories and relate information. And even into the emergency protocols on airplanes, you can see that they're using images to get around any language barrier, to give instructions on how to safely exit the airplane in an emergency. So these are all part of the language of comics that we use and that you can use to tell your own stories. What kind of stories? Are comics just superheroes? It's not. Comics are a medium that can tell any kind of story. So whether it's a fantasy adventure like Bone, something historical, or these two of autobiography or memoir, as well as telling superhero stories or science fiction or mystery or any of those types of horror, any of those types of genres. All can be told with comics. So today we're focusing on these two. All right, before we go any further, first part of the exercises here, I want you to write down something you physically did today. I want you to think back and a physical activity, very specific if you can. Not going to school, but something. Did you make something, or did you make your lunch today, or something about that? So something simple, doesn't have to be life-changing or earth-shattering. So I went to the grocery store and went grocery shopping. So, all right, you got yours down? Great. So there are many ways to make comics, and today I'm just showing you a method that to acknowledge Frank Santoro and Linda Barry often have a lot of exercises that relate around this, and I want to relate it to you, so maybe it speaks to you about how you want to go about making it. And that's taking these 3x5 cards, capturing moments on them, and then using these to build up a story, a narrative, taking one frame, one panel at a time, and putting your stories together. So that's some of what we're going to do today. All right, the next part of the exercise, I want you to write down something you saw someone do today, something you observed someone else doing. Again, a simple activity. That you saw. So I saw someone pushing a grocery cart. All right, just something simple, one little simple sentence. Great. So I wanted to share this quote from Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop from her work, Mirrors, Windows, and Sliding Glass Doors. She says, literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us. And in that reflection, we can see our own lives and experiences as part of the larger human experience. So when you begin to think about what does my story have to say, and what can I share, I want you to just think about this quote, and that how your story is a reflection of a wider human experience and offers a different viewpoint. So something to think about there. Now, the next one, on a card, on a piece of paper, I want you to write down something you heard someone say today. Something that you maybe overheard, or it could be one line said to you, something simple. So I was in the grocery store and I overheard someone say, "There's nothing here." They were doing a renovation at the store, and they were just, all the shelves were somewhere bare and everything, so that was something I heard. So maybe you heard something different, something simple. Doesn't have to be a long thing, just a simple line. So, all right, you got it? So when we talk about memoir and autobiography, what is the difference between those two? So this from the masterclass.com website is that autobiography is a first-person account of an entire life, while a memoir uses a person's life story to talk about a larger theme or idea. So you can think of memoir is from the French of for memory or reminisce, and that can kind of bring up more of a personal experience about some kind of emotional truth or an intimacy that kind of brings into a larger thing. So, all right, one more part of the exercise now. I want you to write down something you thought to yourself today. Right? Something little. Something you told yourself, something you reminded. Could be simple. Could be deep. All right. You have something? All right, great. So these are all, we're going to come back and use those in a minute. In the memoir field, I wanted to take a look at Tillie Walden. She was born here in New Jersey in 1996 before moving to Texas with her family. And she's later become a cartoonist, and even at the early age of, she's only in her early 20s, and she's already published 5 graphic novels and a web comic. And one of these is her memoir on ice skating called Spinning. And we're going to take a look at here. So this next page here, you can see how she uses all these panels to either give you a time. Some of the images have images or symbols, others location. She also relates sound, what's going on around her. Through all this, she gives her point of view in some, and then she'll switch point of view to show the reader from the reader's position, all these things. And notice that they're all the same size, they're kind of all the same weight, and they're one after the other. They kind of build this rhythm and a pattern as she goes across. It's really effective and kind of going moment by moment to kind of bring you into the story here. You can see she does have a very kind of clear line, not a lot of cross-hatching, and just kind of solid colors, really interesting style. Some of it is reminiscent from a lot of things you see in manga. She talks about in interviews how she was influenced by manga growing up. And so you can see some of that in her style of drawing here. Alright, now we're going to get into the drawing. We're warmed up. If you need to warm up again, you can pause the video and copy some of Tilly Walden's panels there. But if not, let's get into drawing. I want you to hold your card in landscape, and again, we're going to start by drawing a frame, a rectangle. Right, and we are going to try and capture one of the moments we talked about. So you're going to have 3 minutes to go back, something you saw someone else do today. So you have that. So I saw someone pushing a grocery cart, so that's what I'm going to draw. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I'm going to put a little, some of the ocean sound in the background here. And it's not a lot of time, so think about using simple shapes to kind of capture the image as best you can. All right? All right, here we go. Got 25 more seconds. Keep going. Five more seconds. So, finish up the line you're on and let's come back together. All right, 3 minutes. That was tough. Not a lot of time. You can see I'm just using simple shapes to kind of capture the idea of someone pushing a grocery cart. All right. Nice job. All right, shake those hands out. We're going to go on to drawing our next scene. What was something you heard someone else say today? All right. So for me there, that was someone saying there's nothing here. Sorry about that. We're same thing. Start off landscape position. I want you to draw a rectangle in your box. Draw a frame. And again, if you're drawing simple shapes, think about, instead of doing stick figures like that, think about, instead of a stick, use a block, or start off with some kind of bean shape or a pear shape, and then from there you can add on simple legs. Even for arms, it can be you can just use sticks for that. And think about, when you're using the eyes, think about dividing the face in half, and then put your eyes there with a little nose and a little mouth, right? Little ears. Again, simple, and then you can go about putting some kind of hair on that. All up to you, just different ways of thinking about, just simple way to make shapes, and something about that, right? Whatever you're comfortable with. Just want to throw out some ideas. A little easier than the stick figure gets a little confusing at times. So having there a big central mass, either a square or some kind of bean shape, will help you. All right. So 3 minutes. I'm going to start the clock. It's something you heard someone else say. So remember, when just a tip, write the words down, and then you can enclose them in some kind of balloon, whether it's oval or square. And you can put a little balloon there, right, towards the mouth. All right, 3 minutes, and go. Alright, that is the end of 3 minutes. Just finish up the line you're working on. Alright, how'd that go? Is it a little bit easier as you get into the groove of things? Again, I'm just using simple shapes, kind of capturing this moment. The woman in the store, she was just so frustrated. She needed something, but there's nothing. There were nothing on the shelves. So. All right, great. Shake out your hands. Give a little stretch. We're getting ready. That's right. We're going again. We're doing another 3 minutes of drawing a physical activity or action that you did today. So get that card. Got what you wrote down before. Again, it's just we're just capturing this moment. So if it was a long or a long task, just pick one moment of it where you can see the action of you doing something today. All right, here we go. 3 minutes and go. You got 1 minute, 15 seconds. Keep going, you're doing great. All right, 30 seconds. Twenty seconds. You're there. Keep going. Almost done. Working hard. 5 seconds. All right, finish up the line you're working on. And we're going to come back together. All right, how did we do on that one? We're getting a little bit easier. All right, so this one was showing an action. So here I am, I'm grocery shopping. And so this is, I kind of use an avatar for myself. This is a character. You can do the same thing with comics. With your comics, doesn't have to be accurate. You can kind of change whatever you like. And here I'm thinking about, this is my attempt at looking for broccoli. Right, that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm in the store there to get. All right. Whew, shake it out. Do a little stretch. Roll those shoulders. All right, we got one more. Are you still with me? Have you just paused this video and walked away? No? All right, you're still with me. All right, so this last one is something you thought to yourself today. Hopefully it was a nice thing. You were treating yourself nicely. So get that card out, what you thought to yourself. Get a new card. Hold it in landscape. Draw your panel, your frame. All right, 3 more minutes on the clock. And go. Maybe you want to start with what you thought. Put out that thought balloon. This one, maybe you've pulled the camera in closer. Yeah, point of view. Very serious. Look at my face, hey. Grocery shopping. Serious. Cheaters on. That's what's great about comics. One of its strengths is that you can use cartooning and step away from being realistic at times and represent things a little differently. About a minute left. Hang in there. Fifteen seconds. Shouldn't be coming down to the end. You're doing great. Hang in there. Alright, that's the end of the 3 minutes. Finish the line. Let's come back together. Alright. How was that one? Did you make it? You should have 4 cards now. Alright, I want you to get all those 4 cards. Right? We're going to arrange these 4 panels in a manner right? Make some kind of a swap things around and see what you can come up with, right? What kind of short little story can you tell from these 4 little panels? Right? So this is, I don't know, this is kind of the benefit of having the cards, is that you can then arrange them however you want. And from here, you can start to think about, where can I expand out? Where can we have more panels? Is there something that happened in between here? that was poignant. Maybe nothing happened during that time period. Maybe it is. So you can take a new panel, draw again, same kind of a thing, draw your frame, and then you can start to add in more frames, right, until you kind of build up a page. But those are the keys. You're going to build it panel by panel until you get a page, and then slowly page by page until you have enough content. All right? And that is kind of the basics of what we're doing today. Right? So I hope you enjoyed that. You got a little bit of a start here. Maybe there's something that you can expand on here that we did today into a small little autobiographical comic of how your day was, and to go from there. So, all right, so we learned today about some practices and methods that you could use to make your own comics. That's starting off by warming up, either by copying different panels of cartoonists or different artists that you like their style. Kind of warm up your hands and your eyes as you go. And we learned about what Autobio and Memoir comics can do. And hopefully you also learned what you can do with comics yourself. Everybody's got a story to tell. All right, some further reading for you. Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud is a great book. Goes in depth, covers a lot of topics of what comics can do. It goes further into that. Another one is Cartooning by Ivan Brunetti, an educator where he's kind of taken his course and he put it into a book. Some great exercises there. Making Comics by Linda Barry, another educator, where she does put what she goes over in class into her book with different exercises. And the last one is called Graphic Storytelling and Visual Narrative by Will Eisner, one of the greats in the media of cartooning is Will Eisner, and this is his how-to book there on storytelling. I wanted to share some authors of Autobio and Memoir comics. The first one is Whit Taylor. She from New Jersey. She's got a bunch of, this one's called Ghost Stories, where she goes a lot of memoir comics of her experiences. So very interesting style. Something to check out from her, New Jersey native. Another New Jersey native is Lauren Weinstein. This is about her about her giving birth to her second baby. Great story. Also from New Jersey. She lives here. Another one is Hot Comb by Ebony Flowers. Again, some great style as she goes about telling different stories from her life. John Porcellino is so influential. This is a mini comic. He's been putting out mini comics for years, where he kind of goes through and he shares his memory. All of this, you can even get a subscription to this if you look online, but this is a great style. Great, simple line style, very clean. Again, that's John Porcellino. And this is his King Cat Comics and Stories. That's his zine. The next is Robin Ha. YOY Alabama is her memoir of her time moving to Alabama. So great story and a great memoir there. Again, I met her when she was just making the book. So this is a little mini comic that she made herself, right, from a sheet of paper, kind of printed it out, folded it, stapled it, and she's got her own mini comic. Same as John. Gabrielle Bell, Get Out, another Autobio artist. She shares just different journals, well-known cartoonist. And then Frank Santoro, he just came out a couple years ago with his book Pittsburgh, about his life and his family's history, kind of growing up in Pittsburgh. So it's a great style, great cartoonist. I studied with Frank, and he it's a really interesting way that approach he has to making comics. So, some things for you to check out. I did want to just take really quick to acknowledge that some of these techniques and exercises are from work that Frank Santoro and Linda Barry have both done. So thank you to them. If you want more information, certainly look up their works. They have a lot of great stuff there. And last off, I want to thank you spending time watching the video and doing these exercises with me. I hope you found it useful. Here is my information where you can find me online at unlimitedwondercomics.com, where you can sign up for a newsletter I have, or a monthly email letter I send out with comics and talk about some things with process of making comics. And you can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram. So that is it. Thank you guys. Take care.